Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Georgia Tech's Manufacturing Lunch and Learn lecture series. My name is Billy D. Brown. I'm a research faculty as well as Director of Manufacturing Education Programs for GTMI. Today, I want to introduce, before I do that, I want to introduce GTMI, which is one of 11 interdisciplinary research institutes on Georgia Tech's campus that uniquely focuses on manufacturing research, development, and deployment. We help tackle grand challenges of today's manufacturers and assist partners from lab to the market with their innovations. GTMI has a wide variety of facilities and equipment located on main campus to perform basic research. We also have an advanced manufacturing pilot facility nearby on 14th Street for more applied research. GTMI's mission includes education and workforce development, collaborative partnerships with industry, academia, and government, as well as thought leadership. GTMI hosts a Lunch and Learn seminar every Monday. During the semester, we have 10 seminars. This spring, sessions are Mondays at noon. These are live sessions. They're excellent opportunities for Georgia Tech faculty, students, graduates, undergraduate, as well as researchers, as well as a global manufacturing community to learn and share advanced manufacturing knowledge. To ensure a smooth presentation experience, all audience members are currently muted. If you have questions or comments for the speakers, I encourage you to formulate those as soon as you have them. Go ahead and submit them via the question and answer panel. And the speakers will be able to address those questions as soon as the presentation is over. Today, I'm pleased to introduce Marco Zani and Andrej Pelikan, who will discuss Mark I, the true story of a startup. Marco Zani is the founder and CEO of Mark I, and Andrej Pelikan joined Mark I in September 2020 as a marketing officer. In 2016, during his studies in automation engineering, Marco Zani founded Mark I, an innovative startup that designs and develops 3D printers for the industrial sector. Marco's goal is to improve the production processes of companies and implement additive manufacturing to make production possible in some cases. During 2019, Marco introduced the world's first 3D printed ankle transplant in collaboration with the Rizzoli Orthopedic Institute. In another collaboration with Polytechnic University of Milan, Mark I built the first 3D printed rocket, which gave rise to collaboration with the Italian Space Agency in order to provide support to companies in the introduction of 3D printing technology. In 2019 and subsequently in 2020, Mark I was selected among the 100 best Italian startups. Around the end of 2019, Mark I won the award as the best smart Italian factory at the Global Startup Awards event in 2019. And in 2020, Forbes Italy listed Marco Zani as of the best 30 under 30 young leaders of Italy's future. And in the same year, he has been developing a partnership with Kawasaki Racing Team World SBK, of which Mark I is currently official technical sponsor. In today's session, Marco and Andrej will focus on introducing their company and giving details about their journey as an Italian startup, from their beginnings to where they currently are and towards an even brighter future. Marco and Andrej, you may begin your presentation.
Thank you. Good afternoon to everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Marco Zani, CEO and the founder of Mark I, a startup that develops and manufactures 3D printers for industrial sector, based in Italy.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us here. I am Andrej Pelikan, marketing officer and sales manager at Mark I since September 2020. It's a pleasure to be here, and we are enthusiastic to speak and talk about Mark I, our company.
So, what is Mark I? Mark I is a company that develops and manufactures our 3D printer, our technology, for industrial sectors. And we not only develop 3D printers, but we help the company to introduce this type of technology like filament technology, inside the production process. And our goal is to revolutionize and optimize the supply chain of the company. How we make it? The knowledge of additive manufacturing inside the company is poor. We understand in this year, and they are near to close to zero. So about that, we understand is very complex for the company. Understand all about the 3D printing, the technology, the material, the right way to implement in the different application. And for that, we introducing our unique approach, like with a preliminary analysis, we understand what is the request about the clients. And after that, we understand what is the real application of the company, and we can customize, and we can changing the hardware, the software, and the consultancy we give at the back of the 3D printers. So we're introducing it, and when we create this collaboration with the company, like we talking with, for example, Yamaha, Kawasaki, we start a collaboration to understand what is the best static of the machines, the best material, the best technology to realize the parts. This approach is to optimize the 3D printers for the real needs of the clients. And you understand, all days we know we listen talk about the 3D printers, but there are different technology, and it's not easy to understand what is the difference for the different applications. Our main sector where we work are automotive, industrial automation, medical, also aerospace, and medical sector. So since our clients work in different sectors, we have developed 4 different products and a different line. We have the line for industrial. For industrial sector is the biggest one for real-time production and can print 24 hours for 24 hours. And we have the second line is small production, because the company needs to understand the technology and need to start the production with simple part or with not complex geometry or with not the best technical material. In this year, we have created 3 different patents. One in the hardware, with the innovation hardware, and 2 for innovation process. And we present other 2 patents this year. So this patent is our experience, our know-how we developed this year for create better technology. So we don't want to be just follower of technology. We are aiming to be the leader of this technology. My vision is, in my opinion, the key advantage of 3D printers in the future, it will be the real-time production, and how we can make it and how we can realize it, because the world changing, and imagine if this type of technology were distributed, and the world, around the world, and all interconnected with each other, who change the supply chain, who changes the warehouse and the shipment. Imagine a world where you design a part, or you design thinking a project, and in another part of the world, your colleague can printing and can use it. So the vision is changing the traditional manufacturing company in the world. Before Mark 1, while I was studying industrial automation, I have this passion, and I thinking is you have this synergy between the additive manufacturing and the industrial automation. I thinking we can changing how we can create the parts and how we can use the simple parts, like create a parts, and industrial automation is more expensive, and you need more times And yeah, I think we can use the 3D printing for making it more easy and more cheaper. When I was a student, to save money, I decided to build my first 3D printer for myself because I had different options to buy it, but I'm a student, so and I think not make a job like 3D printer with a 3D printer. So I decided to build my first 3D printer and create at the back the software and the hardware. I put it online. I put it online, and I have a lot of requests from different companies, and to ask me to improve my technology. And the curiosity is this company already have sometimes other 3D printer, but can't work. So don't understand how it's work and ask me to help to develop this technology inside the company. And in this way, I start with my first clients. I'm interested in this technology, so I'm interested to this company to understand how we can create the best settings, the best hardware to perform better. And this company already have other industrial machines, so explain us, okay, I already have this type of machine. This is industrial, so it's an expensive machine, and our product is similar. So from the beginning, I understand that there was a lot of confusion on the market, and don't understand the real difference from maybe cheaper machines, industrial machine, and don't understand when buy a 3D printer how can work better with this machine in the company, in the prototyping space or in the production line. After that, I applied to Italian Innovation Call in 2015, and yeah, we want to show our 3D printer in the Expo in Milan. And in this and in this show, in this call, I applied to imagine the future of the food with a 3D printer. So I'm thinking, and I try to understand in 2015 what is the future of the food with a 3D printer. And now I think different cases around the world showing the 3D printer create a food. In this exhibition, we present our first machine, and we have a problem because when we need to present it and when we want a call, we don't have a finished machine. So we start and to complete it, we start and we use 6 months. And for this 6 months, I select for night. And yeah, the last 3 days we work continuously without the lab. So we were practically failing as a lab while working.
So sorry for the mask putting on and off, but unfortunately we have to respect Italian regulations. So after winning at the Expo as best startup, we started to participate in other call for innovations. And at a certain point, we decided, why not? Why not found a company? So Marco founded Mark 1 in 2016. But we needed to understand what we were going into. You can't found a company and just start developing 3D printers without knowing the market. So we decided to study the market. So in that year, Mark 1 participated to about 15 to 16 fairs in Italy. So we were always traveling around, always trying to study, to understand the market, how to present ourselves to partners, clients, suppliers, distributors, investors, how to understand what the market needed and how to understand how we were perceived by others. So in these fairs, we have seen that what Mark I was offering, so the product and the service that came with the product itself, was very different from the competition. And it still is different from the competition. Actually, it was unique at the time, and it's still unique. So why did we have this unique approach, this unique service? Mostly because when we entered in the market, we didn't do an analysis of the market. We started to develop the technology. We did not have a specific target. We did not study the market. We just observed what the category leaders of 3D printing were doing it, and we tried to reach that level and to overcome that level. So trying to be the best at it. So as I mentioned before, we participated in 15 to 16 different fairs where we began to make first contacts with bigger companies. Before that, we were selling to privates or small companies. So we met bigger companies, multinationals, incorporations that were leaders in certain areas. So these companies already knew the technology. They already had some 3D printers of bigger players than us in their offices, in their buildings. But when they met us and they started to talk with us about our technology, they started to compare the machine they had with the machine we were proposing. So we knew at that moment that we were creating something good. So from the very beginning, we did not want to be a simple supplier for these companies. Supplier can be changed easily. So we provided them with the technology, but we did not provide them just with the 3D printer. We provide them with service. Now, what is this service? Service is basically support and assistance in every possible need. So if a company needs to develop something, we try to help this company to develop that thing. For example, let me show you. We have this company. We are here in Italy, and we are in an area called also the Packaging Valley. So this company works in packaging and had to develop grippers for a robot handling bottles. So the main problem was that they had a 3D printer that was not able to print a more flexible material. So they were producing this rigid gripper that damaged the label of the bottles. So we met with them and they asked for our help, which is the service that comes with our 3D printers. And we studied with them a combination of different materials. So we developed two different grippers, one rigid and one flexible, so that you cannot slip or damage the label of the bottle. So this is how we were offering our service. We provide them with the technology and the know-how on how to use this technology. And for doing so, we were considered their partners in the world of additive manufacturing. So we were producing one 3D printer, the one, as you've seen it in the slide before. Since we were seen as a partner by these companies, they wanted us to grow. They wanted to invest in our company, and they give us feedbacks about our machines and what they wanted from the market. So in a sense, thanks to this partnership, we knew what kind of machines these companies needed and wanted. So having been encouraged and having the knowledge of the market, we began to create, to develop, to think of more technical models. So we created these lines, the industrial, small production, the medical, that we still have today with much more technical models. Thanks to these partnerships born over the years, we were able to develop new, more performing machines to grow exponentially. As you can see in the image, you have the MK333 and MK653. So thanks to this partnership, these two printers were born.
Sorry. Still another call for innovation. I spent 1 month to study the American mindset in Silicon Valley, and I try to understand how to prepare my startups for the world. So I changed it all. I changed the mindset, my mindset. I changed the business model, changes the company, and think is because I'm from Italy, and the difference from Italy, from Europe, the difference between Italian and USA is very, very huge. We have different differences about the cultural difference about business. For example, if when I come in US and tell me, start with the startups, it's not a problem. Maybe you fail, your startups fail, your next one is better because you have more experience and you understand what is the key point is wrong. Wow, yeah, is good. In Italy, is not in the same. The people don't see in the same mood. Like, okay, you have a startups, you fail. Okay, maybe it's not your job. You need to change it. And this is one example. Certainly, it's a culture that has been changing over the last years. And but for make another example, when you raise the money, so in this is maybe it's a big trend from Europe, more Italian from the US. When you need to raise money, you have your investors. More times it's private investors or to start. In Italy, years ago, maybe there aren't, don't exist. There's very small group of people, and don't give the same money like in the US. So in Italy, the company starts and growing. The first step with the bank, with the money of the bank, and the bank is not a right risk of a company. So, and if you lose credibility from it, it's very hard to increase the business and push it. So from my travel in Silicon Valley, I try to understand what is important for me. To understand the mindset, and it's important to understand how I can changing company and how I can changing the approach to the world. Maybe for the example for me more easy is in Georgia is totally different market and is totally different from Italy for sure, but it's totally different from Silicon Valley. So we need to understand when we create a business and create a business model, understand what is your focus and what is your target, and changing it, because it's when you start, maybe you start in Georgia, and after go abroad, after go around the US, after maybe come in the Europe, and it's important to understand the difference from different countries. And for me, the business model is completely changing. And when I come back from the Silicon Valley, I start to go abroad, and I promised to me to go abroad, where I think is the key point to understand if my business, the business of Mark One, is to make traction, to understand if it's a good way and the good approach is correct. So we start to go abroad. We started with the best, the biggest relevant exhibition of additive manufacturing in the world, and use it to understand the market and to understand if our approach is relevant. The feedback of the market was great because because one of the first exhibition see in the picture. I know a bigger distributor in the US, and this CEO of this company asked me, I like it. I like your product and I like your approach. How many times you need to shipping US 100 of machine? So it's a huge number, and I understand we need to change all in the company, and we had to rethinking and redevelop our products because we develop a product, not a software, and we sell not only a product, but we sell a support, a consultancy, and it's not easy thinking how we can make the same like in Italy abroad. But when we stay in Europe, maybe it's more easy because take a flight and then we reach and come back in the same day. But if I ship a machine in the US and this machine we use for making real-time production, we can spend 1 week to maybe make assistance. So I needed to understand what is the parts and what is the not only the hardware but the hardware, the software. We need to understand how we provide remote assistance, provide the same business model like in Italy abroad.
So after that Marco came back from the Silicon Valley and these international fairs, we received the opportunity to innovate and to introduce the technology in a new sector. And this sector was the motorsport. Now, what is the SBK? We noticed in the past that when talking with the US public, not many people are aware of SBK or MotoGP. So basically, to make it more simple, it's like that our technology was introduced in a box of a team racing in the NASCAR. That's how it was like for us being introduced with the Yamaha World SBK team. So we introduced the technology. We were the first one in 2019 to introduce the 3D printer inside the box to make real-time production on site, so during races. So maybe a pilot during test was driving the motorcycle and they had to change something, redesign something, and they were able to do it on site without turning to external companies. So being the first one to introduce this technology in this sector gave us a lot of visibility and a lot of traction in the automotive market. Now, before I said that we live in an area in Italy that is called the Packaging Valley, but it's also called the Motor Valley. So, because in this area, they are located a few small companies such as Lamborghini, Ferrari, Maserati, Ducati, and they're right around the corner. So, as Marco mentioned before, due to our international expansion, we had to develop our proprietary mainboard, so which allowed us to create a more reliable machine, a machine that was autonomous and suitable for industrial production, with simpler machinery management. The board was designed to give an improved control over the machine, to give a better control over temperature, over the process, to give a more finished performing component. By controlling this entire process, we have a better final component, and we have a machine that is autonomous, and we can sell the machine and send it and ship it to the US or to the other part of the world, and still be able to provide the service that is unique for our company to a client that is on the other side of the world. Of course, with the development of the new proprietary mainboard, we had to develop also a new machine. We redesigned completely the MK33. As you can see on the left side of the slide, this is the old version, and on the other side of the slide, there is the new version. Why we did it? Because we realized that we needed a more performing machine with a more performing proprietary mainboard. So we wanted to propose and to offer the best hardware with the best software abroad and in Italy, and also offer the best service and assistance that we have.
In the 2019, by winning another call, another innovation call from Italy, I was rated to test and hub one of the largest accelerators in the US located in Chicago, where I spent 3 months, and that in these 3 months I tried to develop a business and consolidating our presence in the US. So the creation of the network of contacts and opening of a company for American distribution network. So I worked with the accelerator to consolidate our business model and start creating this connection. And during my stay in Chicago, I had discovered that Chicago was the city more akin to our type of product because San Francisco is very only software. It's only software, only software city, and Chicago no, is totally different city, and it's a good point to start with our business in the US. After that,
so in 2019 we revolutionized the world of motorsport with the introduction of the first 3D printer inside the boxes for Yamaha. We moved to the official Kawasaki team, 6-time World SBK champion. So one important thing about this collaboration with the leader of the circuit was that the 3D printer allowed the optimization of the whole production process. So before the introduction of our technology, the Kawasaki team had to test the motorcycle on the circuit. If there was a modification to be done, they had to design or modify an existing or a new component. So these components they had to be approved and produced by the HQ in Japan, and then sent back to the team in Spain or in the parts of the world they were racing. So as you may imagine, this was a logistic nightmare, and a nightmare completely, because they had to ask for permission, then had to do the machine, they had to produce the component, and then had to send it back. So thanks to our technology, thanks to our 3D printers, they were able to optimize the shipping of the components, the development of the components. They were able to reduce the cost to produce a component. So we offered innovative solution to companies located in 3 different areas. So in Spain, Japan, and areas where the team was competing. The goal is to consolidate this technology not as a service, which is something a lot of teams already do, but as a real-time on-site production of components for the racing. So in 2019, as it was mentioned before, we worked closely with Istituto Ortopedico Rizzoli, which is an orthopedic institute here in Italy, for the first 3D printing ankle transplant. During that experience, we learned that a segment of the medical sector, of the medical market, was totally unexplored by additive manufacturing. We learned that no 3D printer manufacturers was going into it. So we decided to develop, with the collaboration of some of the best 3D podiatrists, of Italian podiatrists, we decided to develop the first 3D printer dedicated to the production of personal insoles. So after a year of studying, the market, the materials, the problems, the solutions that the podiatrists were facing every day, we decided to launch this machine, and we decided to print these two materials. So the MK Flex Ortho, which is a flexible material, as you can see, or also the MK Carbon, which is a more rigid material. Now, we developed these solutions to help the podiatrists in their everyday activities, because we used our know-how from the industrial sector and we applied it on the medical sector. So we create a dedicated machine, easy to use, because we realize that podiatrists are not engineers, they do not have a technical background. So we try to make the MK ISO the most easier machine to use. And while the machine can operate 24/7 and produce insoles, personalized insoles, based on the feet of a patient of this podiatry, the podiatrist can visit other patients, so maximizes and optimizes time.
In 2020, we gave 2 important awards. The first one, for the best South Euro startup manufacturing startups, and I was nominated from Forbes Italy, the list of 30 under 30. About that, I think the important is the important step I make and we make, as a company make, the vision I have for a long term. It's not important how we use now the technology, but it will be used in the next 10 years. The company has drastically changed over the year, but the vision and has always remained the same. Because I think this is important, the vision from when I started the company at university and now. And the vision is the same, I think it's the same for the future. But, now we arrive at 2020, and the 2020, we know there are COVID, start a COVID, and we are on a launch pad, and we won these 2 different awards, and the world changed. And I think the extruder of startups having the mentality of remaining flexible has helped a lot Mark 1. And the mentality of startups during the COVID, the pandemic, had a huge impact. And if the mentality of the founders, the people inside the company, has a flexible mentality, is more easy to understand the COVID and the world before and the world after this pandemic. And in this time, we spend we create different projects. We spend time for understand how the additive manufacturing can give us support as a company for create maybe the parts, but in the first step in February we started to create a different project for the pandemic. Like one of these is the mask, an innovative mask you see in the picture. Is because in February, March in Italy there aren't a material to create there aren't a mask, a real mask. And after, maybe I remember, after maybe 1 month, the same in the US. So this idea is to start with a 3D printer and create a structure you can modelize on your face, and after you can use the different material you find in the different place to create a filter. This idea will start February 2020, and his idea arrived from the same we need in the company. So we have a problem. The problem maybe in the company, the problem is we don't have a part. So we don't have the part because don't arrive or is more expensive. I don't know, different problems. But the needs is creates the mask, and in this travel, I think we can use this technology to create the best way to create the mask. And I think in this step. After that, there are a lot of files online, free files. So there are a lot of projects we're sharing online with free download. And so COVID showed the problem of outsourcing supply chain. And COVID showing there are a lot of problem for shipment, for material, and all. I think now we're talking about not of COVID but a new world. So we have developed a series of initiatives where we show the advantage of 3D printing. We need to understand the world is changing, and the real-time production is the supply chain of the company needs to changing, and we need to consider the technology inside the company to make a real-time production or dislocated production or flexible production. And the price of raw material and is changing. So we need to understand how we can deliver the part. Because months ago, 1 year ago, when you're shipping the parts around 2 days. Now when you ask to ship in the parts, maybe it will take 1 month. And now maybe if you ask to part, maybe don't have it. So the world can't be the same. The company realized that there's the potential of digitalization in this year and of the production process. So thinking is more easy to create a flexible production and in real-time production and relocate our or supply chain of the company. I think it is a new world has been created, a world in evolution, world that it will change. And the Mark I, we believe that this technology can shape this world, and every day we work to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you very much for having us here. For any additional information, do not hesitate to contact us. So that one right there is my email. If you have any question or information on any doubt, or if you want to make a call, a video call to talk in more detail about our startup, our technology, please do not hesitate to contact us. And you also have the link to our website. If you have time, please feel free to visit us, and we are here for any additional question.
Now maybe.
Yeah, I will interrupt the slide sharing.
Thank you so much, Marco and Andre. We really appreciate your time and appreciate your presentation. I do want to reiterate to the attendees, if you have any questions, to please submit those as soon as you can. Marco and Andre, I really thought this would be a great presentation, particularly for the students in the audience, because we've done this in the past semesters, where we have a startup, give a presentation and talk about their journey. This is actually the first time that we've had a non-U.S. startup, international startup, actually talk about their journey. And so this was very interesting. And I really sort of underestimated, all of the awards and all that you guys have done, actually. as a startup. So you guys have really excelled in this area. And I know I'm sure that the Georgia Tech community, because we tend to have a lot of students who are very business oriented and that actually can start startup companies of their own. So it's a very business oriented climate around Georgia Tech. So I'm sure that they appreciated your presentation and the aspects of your journey. I did see that we have some questions coming in. We have a question from Keith Dowsett. Do you all use proprietary 3D design software?
Yeah, so for if thinking about the proprietary software like Slicer, no, we don't have our main software. We have our main software on the machine. We have our main electronic device to control the machine and the control and all the hardware. But the Slicer, for now, we don't have our.
Is that
the question?
I think so. If not, he will probably follow up. He actually has a follow-up question. Keith does about how many. Do you guys have multiple sub startups? How many Mark I subsidiaries have you been able to set up?
Okay. Okay. So thank you for the question. So we were planning to open in 2020 our office in Chicago. Now 2020 was a particular year where we weren't able to open our US office. Officially, we weren't able to open it. So at the moment, we are still having our HQ here in Cesena in Italy. But as soon regulations are lifted, we are going to open the US office. And then, well, that's for the short-term period.
And Keith, he commented, understood. So proprietary firmware, he gets it. That was in regard to the first question. Yeah.
So, I would add something else about the question about the firmware, because this is a step that maybe is important for the startups and the development of the product. It's impossible to start and create all. Like our focus was start from the hardware, and after introducing the software, and after different process like I explained before, like a patent. So we increase the different steps to create all from our company. But we decided to create these steps, and maybe in the future the Slicer we create for my own. But for now, because the company growing, we need to make focus for the different steps, and there are a lot of free software developed from the company, and works well for now. And the parts that we look in the different years create the problem is the hardware, because sometimes we would create some parts and the hardware can't make what we want, and the same after the software and after the electronic device. And in the last year, we're working a lot for our main board, because like we already explained, for control remote, and others we can make with this. It's all. Sorry. Thanks.
So you mentioned that the biggest hurdle right now to expanding to the U.S. In Chicago would be did you say a regulation, Andre? There's some
Uh,
regulatory issues, or
yeah, well, mostly since COVID kind of stopped everything. We weren't able to open, so that's it mostly. So I mean, to go to the US, of course, for us Europeans, we need a visa, and then of course, since we are opening a business, we need another visa, and then since it's COVID, you need another permission, and it's permission after permission, and regulate. I mean, it's law, and it's just
Mhm.
bureaucracy, and that's it.
But we are already working with MHub, so now we are again on the MHub to develop the business, and we working from Italy.
Mhm.
It's not simple.
Yeah,
But for
I
the
know your presentation was pretty high level and broad overview, but this is a technical audience as well. So I was curious about what, and this kind of goes along with one of the questions, but sort of what are the mechanisms of printing for your machines that you offer? Are they the standard like FDM type of printers, or can you tell us about how those printers actually work?
Yeah. Our technology is FDM technology, so we start from FDM technology, and after that, I see another question about the details from the extruder. We develop some feature inside to create better and more performant the components that we printed. So I will show you the carbon fiber parts. This is from like the process we develop and we create a patent. This is components from autoclave. Is empty and is all from 3D printing, and we created these components. And the process we have create the patent is to create the composites like from autoclave and lamination of carbon fiber. And yeah, so our technology is the FDM, and working to find the best way to print the part. And my focus is create the part more stronger from other 3D printing in the FDM technology.
Yeah, I see that you use the carbon fiber reinforced material to probably increase like strength and other mechanical properties of the
Yeah.
printed part. There's actually another company in U.S. that does that as well, called Mark Forged. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that company, and if you are, what would be your competitive advantage against a company like Mark Forged in the U.S.? I don't know if you've thought about that.
No, yeah, it's. I think, like I told before, we needed to understand the process of the machine. Like, so in the US, you already have Stratasys, is the biggest company to create invented the FDM technology. But the focus is not only how is not create the parts, but how we create the parts, and the perfect control of the process, like the perfect control of the material, and how we create the parts.
Mm,
This is the important. So maybe the confusion of the market in the additive manufacturing is this problem, this focus, because people see different machine, all FDM, all print the same material, and so the price start to 100 to 1 million, and don't understand what is the difference, because all machine tell make the same. But
mhm,
yeah, the difference is not only the technology and the material created, but the real process to create it. And for this reason, we developed different patterns on the hardware, because there are different key points from hardware, from software, from electronic device, and the knowledge to create the best machine to perform better.
mhm. So when you say perform better, would you say possibly the speed of the printing is faster, or or the actual properties of the printed part are improved versus other types of printers?
Our focus is not is because we would make the real-time production and we make production parts, and for make production parts we need to create more stronger. So our approach is not to print faster, but is print in the right way the parts. And when you take out from the 3D printer, you can use directly in the production process.
So there's no post-processing is required?
Yeah. Yeah. And understand, for example, of insoles, for example, of the gripper for the robot. We use in the production line, we print and use it.
Got it. Okay. Right now, I don't see any additional questions. But I guess we have a few minutes left. I just want to remind everyone our seminar next week will be from Johnson & Johnson. We have Olav Lindberg, who will actually talk about monoclonal antibody manufacturing. So we'll be going back to a biomanufacturing topic. And again, the recording of this lecture will be posted on our website, and that's at research.gatech.edu/manufacturing/past lectures. The recording to this lecture will be posted. And if you have additional questions, please reach out to Marco and Andre. They're very open to answering questions, and they've already shared their contact information. So yeah, I would say thank you all for your presentation. Thank you, Marco and Andre, for your presentation, and thank the audience members for attending. And again, I would say to follow up with you guys if you have further questions.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us at this event. Thank you very much for inviting us. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And everyone, have a great Monday.
Bye.
Bye.